Good morning. It's lovely to see everybody this morning. This is a special service. This is our YPMA service. So we will be handing out the YPMA awards and we will learn a little bit about the YPMA projects. And of course, on Monday the 18th, it's the Armagh Agreement celebration service. And it would be really good to have as many of you as possible who can come to that service. I know it's a long afternoon, but it's celebrating something really special. So it starts at 1:30 at St. Patrick's, and it ends with the service then moves over to here. It's Holy Communion here, and then tree planting, and then tea in the church hall. So please, if you can come to that service, it will be so good to have a good representation from our congregation. So we begin our service by singing hymn from Mission Praise. It's My Jesus, My Saviour. It. Let us pray. Heavenly Father, we thank you for bringing us together this morning. We thank you for the desire that's been in our hearts to come together to worship and praise you. So, Lord, we thank you for the comfort that we have left at home. We thank you for the comfort and the warmth of this place. And we remember before you all those who don't live in comfort, who are frightened to worship you publicly, and all those for whom their meeting houses and their churches are in great need of repair. So, Lord, as we thank you for the warmth of this place, we remember with those who have so little. And as we think of your welcome, your warm embrace for us today, we think of all the times we have let you down, the times that we have not been as kind as we could have, the times when we've forgotten all about you, the times when we have put our own needs ahead of the needs of others. So, Lord, forgive us. You know everything about us. You know even the things that we don't know, that we don't realise. Lord, forgive us and help us to grow towards you in goodness, kindness, and grace. And this prayer we lift to you through Jesus' name as we say the prayer that Jesus taught his friends. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory, forever and ever. Amen. Now I'm going to ask Lizzie to come and bring us our Bible reading.
The reading is taken from Exodus chapter 2, verses 1 to 10, the birth of Moses. During this time, a man from the tribe of Levi married a woman of his own tribe, and she bore him a son. When she saw what a fine baby he was, she hid him for 3 months. But when she could hide him no longer, she took a basket made of reeds and covered it with tar to make it watertight. She put the baby in it and then placed it in a tall grass at the edge of the river. The baby's sister stood some distance away to see what would happen to him. The king's daughter came down to the river to bathe, and while her servants walked along the bank, they suddenly noticed the basket in the tall grass and sent a slave girl to get it. The princess opened it, and she saw a baby boy. He was crying, and she felt sorry for him. "This is one of the Hebrew babies," she said. Then his sister asked her, "Shall I go and call a Hebrew woman to act as a wet nurse?" "Please do," answered the girl. And so she went and brought the baby's own mother. The princess told the woman, "Take this baby and nurse him for me, and I will pay you." So she took the baby and she nursed him. Later, when the child was old enough, she took him to the king's daughter, who adopted him as her own son. She said to herself, "I pulled him out of the water, and so I name him Moses." This is the word of the Lord.
Thanks be to God. This isn't so much a sermon as just some thoughts, because today is Mothering Sunday and Friday was Women's Day and International Women's Day. And I think that this Bible reading picks up something absolutely wonderful for both of those days. I think we all know the story of Moses being found in the bulrushes. But there's a lot more to this story, because there's 3 amazing women behind it. 3 really great characters. Now, the first is Moses' mum. And Moses loves this baby. But all the baby boys in Egypt were under threat because there were too many people of Israel in Egypt. And the Pharaoh wanted to get rid of them. He didn't want to get rid of the adults because they were slaves and they were useful. But he thought the best way of getting rid of them was killing all the baby boys. And that's absolutely horrible, isn't it? But mother's love is very, very strong. And I bet there were lots of mothers in Egypt who were looking to protect their babies. And this mum had an ingenious idea. She would keep looking after the baby as best she could, but she'd hide him away. So they must have lived quite near the river, and she made a little basket for the baby, made it waterproof, and put it down in the reeds. And presumably, you know, like a hare goes to feed its baby at night time and just leaves it in a place of safety. That's what Moses' mother did. She left the baby in a place of comparative safety, and then she'd be able to go and look after it whenever she could. So there's the mum and the love of a mother and the determination to keep the baby alive. And secondly, there's the big sister. Is anybody here a big sister? I'm a big sister. Anybody else? Yes? Yeah. Do you know when you were asked to look after the little ones? I was. Well, not to look after them, but to keep an eye out. Well, that's what this big sister was doing. She was keeping an eye out for her baby brother. And presumably she could run to her mum and tell her mum if there were any problems. So she was very brave and she had to be alert. So she was a really good, strong woman, even though she was only a child herself. And then there's the third woman. It's a really tender-hearted woman. It's a woman who didn't have children of her own, as far as we can tell from the story, but heard a baby crying and wanted to rescue it. And that is just so lovely, tender-hearted and kind. Now, we don't know the backstory. I wish we knew more of the details of this story, that we knew a bit more about the interaction between Moses' big sister and the Pharaoh's daughter, the princess. But I wonder if the princess knew exactly what was going on, and that she knew that the little sister, the big sister, was keeping an eye out. Because she says, "Do you know anybody who can look after this baby for me?" And the big sister says straight away, "Come on, I know just the person who can look after that baby." So you've got a mum, you've got a very brave big sister, and you've got a very tender-hearted daughter, a princess. And the great thing is that they are three people that are absolutely vital to God's plan, because God's plan was for Moses to lead the people of Israel out from slavery in Egypt into their own land. But it wouldn't have been possible without the mum, without the big sister, and without the princess. And all of them played their part in God's great plan, and the plan to bring the people of Israel out of Egypt. They might never have known their part in it, but they were part of God's plan. And I think God even has a sense of humour, because in that story you realise that Pharaoh was going to kill all the baby boys, all the Hebrew baby boys. What he didn't realise was his own daughter was bringing one of those children up in the palace as her own. And because of that upbringing in the palace, he got all the education and skills that he needed to equip him later on for becoming the great leader who brought the people out of slavery. So I think those three women are a wonderful example for us on Mothering Sunday. Strong women, mothers, adopted mothers, tender-hearted people who take care of others. So we're going to sing now, Lord of All Hopefulness, because it is a hymn really about our homes. please sit. Now, Jamie has very kindly volunteered to help me. Well, is volunteered the right phrase? Coercion? It's a bit harsh. To help me with this. Jamie, come on up. Now, can we glue the bits on? Right, the idea of this, and I was in Germany just over a week ago, and the last activity that we did there was we had a social night and we had to make up jigsaws, but they didn't give us any pictures. We just had to guess how the jigsaw went. So it was quite tricky trying to work out the parts of the jigsaw. So Jamie, this is the picture. I don't know what bit you've got. We've got an edge bit. Right, brilliant. So we're going to make up this jigsaw. And I chose this jigsaw quite specifically. Has anybody else got a white piece? Hannah, you've got a white envelope. Do you want to come up? Pop it down. Right, see if you can work out where your piece comes from. This is the picture. If I stand here, is that better? Yes, that's it. Right, I'll keep talking while Jamie keeps working. I think that's the best way. So anyway, I thought this jigsaw was really easy. You know, 100 pieces, 5 plus. It took me over an hour last night to make it up. So you can see where I'm struggling. Right, has anybody else got a white envelope? Erin and Mum, can you come up, Jane? Brilliant. Okay. Hannah, if you want to help Jamie, I'm sure he'd appreciate that. Yes. Jane, if you want to help as well. This is the picture. Anybody else got a white envelope? Brilliant. So that's that bit, that's the top one there. Put some glue on it. And you might find that other bits are in other envelopes, so don't worry if it's... Oh, excellent. If you line up over there, open it up, get some glue on it. Let's see where your bit goes. Oh, you've got a... Right. That, I know because I did this. That goes along here. Or along there. Something wrong already. I put it up the wrong way round, I think. Oh dear. Right, okay. Yeah, right. Right, oh dear. Right, okay. So that bit's got to go along there somewhere. Yeah, right. Oh dear. I did tell you I found it quite hard last night. Do you want me to hold that bit while you get the end bit? Who else has got a white envelope? Come on up. I bet you're frightened to move, aren't you? Right, so let's check that bit again. Yeah, that's there. Is there? Oh dear.
I know where mine is.
Excellent. Right, you need glue on it.
Glue?
Yep. Because if we don't glue it, it won't stay on. Yep. No, that one stays on. I glued that last night. There's these bits here that have got to go on. Oh, well done, Jane. It comes there. Yeah, that's it. Oh, I like it. You've got plenty of glue on it. George, put more glue on.
More glue.
More glue. Mike? It's those hands there, isn't it?
Oh, here it is. Here. I should be good at jigsaws. No, I don't.
Brilliant.
Kind of around here.
Excellent. Does anybody know what this is? Who it is?
It's a jigsaw puzzle.
Yeah, go on.
It's the Avengers.
It is the Avengers. Who likes the Avengers? Yeah, yes. Excellent. Oh, brilliant.
I have lots of them.
Have you got this jigsaw?
We should know how to do this.
You should. Oh, well done. You've got plenty of glue on that.
They're a thing for all.
If I tell you to rub it into jumping, your mother will go mad with you, won't she? Brilliant. Right. Do you know where yours is going?
I think I know where mine is. I think mine's
Right, hold on.
So I think mine goes here.
Excellent.
Can you turn yours up and see what it is? There's two random ones.
Not sideways. Sideways.
I think yours
there.
goes along the top.
Goes along the top there, yeah.
Do I put it along the top?
Yeah.
Glue on.
I'd rub it on his jumper.
Yeah, just add to it. There, I'll give back.
Right, excellent. Is there another white envelope anywhere? You've got the other one.
No, I think I got all these.
I think yours just starts out. It's like there's a wallpaper decorator here.
It's no hardship in getting it done right. Right, let's see.
Right side, here you go.
Okay. Right. Okay, Harrison. Now, Harrison has spotted something really important. What is it that you've spotted, Harrison? We need some more pieces. What is it that's missing from the jigsaw? Because you know this jigsaw quite well.
It's missing Iron Man's head and his head. But it's missing a couple of bits here.
It's missing the face of the people. All right, so this is incomplete. Now, Matthew, will you collect up all the brown envelopes that I gave up earlier? If you had a little brown envelope, can you put your hand up? And go and collect them and bring them out. And Jamie will get on with sticking them on, if you don't mind, Jamie. Yeah, that would be good. Oh, well done, Daniel, for helping. Excellent. Right, if you get... Oh, you've got... Brilliant. Any more?
It's easy for me.
Is it easy? Yeah, I'm really pleased you know this, Jizzle. Right, you hold that for your dad. Right. Brilliant. If you hand them over to Jamie, that's wonderful. And you can stay there and help Jamie if you like. The jigsaw is incomplete, because the people aren't in it. I know you can see the bodies, but you can't see the faces. They're incomplete. And that's the truth for us. We need to be together. We're incomplete if anyone is missing. That story of Noah would have been incomplete. Well, it wouldn't have been a story, not Noah, of Moses. It wouldn't have been a story at all without Moses' mum, without his big sister, and without the tender-hearted princess. They were all needed in that story, and they may never have known the part they took in that story. And we never know the part that we have in God's plan. We don't know just how we're being used. The important thing is that we are always truthful, honest, and kind, that we always try and follow God. And we just have to trust to God that we're part of his bigger plan. And YPMA is part of God's bigger plan too, because through YPMA, we can help particularly young people who suffer disadvantage all over the world. So, the picture is incomplete without the faces. We're incomplete without each other. And as a church, and as different branches of the church, we all need each other. We're all part of God's plan. So we're going to sing together, and it's a favourite song. We're going to sing it from the screen, My Lighthouse.
In my wrestling and in my doubts, in my failures, you won't walk out. Your great love will lead me through. You are the peace in my troubled sea. Whoa, you are the peace in my troubled sea. In the silence, you won't let go. In the questions, your truth will hold. Your great love will lead me through. You are the peace in my troubled sea. Whoa, you are the peace in my troubled sea. My lighthouse, my lighthouse, shining in the darkness, I will follow you. Oh, my lighthouse, I will trust the promise. You will carry me safe to shore.
Everything comes to you, O Lord, and of your own do we give you. Bless now these gifts. Bless those who give so freely. And may these gifts work to serve your purpose in this place. Amen. Now I'm going to ask Hannah to come up and tell us about the YPMA Association this year, and a little bit later on she'll be handing out the certificates. So Hannah, come and...
So many of our children and young people give money each week to support the YPMA, also known as the Young People's Missionary Association. The YPMA was established in 1957 and aims to encourage children and young people to learn more about missionary overseas work and to support this work where possible through their own personal prayer and giving. We really encourage our young people to share the knowledge that they acquire about this overseas work with other young people and old people also. So we click on to the next slide. I'm delighted to say that in 2023, the total raised for the YPMA in Gracehill Moravian was £1,506. And I'd like to extend my thanks to the young people, parents, grandparents and friends who gave so generously and made this possible. We click on to the next slide. This breaks down where the money raised came from. So we had a total of 19 children and young people who supported YPMA last year. And I can see some of you in church today to collect your certificates and badges and to learn more about where the money that you gave is going. Of the £1,500 raised, 839 came from the young people bringing in their collections to Children's Church each week, and £667 came from the free will offering as part of the Christingle service. So thank you to everyone who gave so generously at that service. It really did boost our funds at the end of the year. I don't have the totals raised by all of the Moravian churches in the UK last year, but I know that Gracehill is always a big supporter of the YPMA, and it's great to see so many young people in our congregation. So the next slide is going to look at where the money raised has gone, and this is considering all of the funds raised across the UK Moravian congregations. So £5,000 was allocated to Sekonge Hospital Appeal to celebrate the 100th anniversary of the hospital. The blue star shows Tanzania on the map where the hospital is located. The remainder of the money went to the other regular YPMA projects, those being the Elim Home in South Africa, indicated there by the red star, and Star Mountain in the West Bank, indicated by the yellow star. So you can see that your money is really spread diversely across the world. So we're going to take a look at the Sekonge Mission Hospital in the first next. So the Sekonge Mission Hospital is a Moravian hospital in rural western Tanzania, a country in eastern Africa. You can see it on the map there on the right-hand side. Tanzania has a population of 62 million, so Northern Ireland has less than 2 million, just to give you context for the size of Tanzania. 68% of those citizens sadly live below the poverty line, and 32% of the population don't have enough to eat. The Sekonge Hospital was founded 100 years ago by the British Moravian missionary Dr. Keevil. The hospital covers a large area with the main hospital, small rural health clinics and mobile clinics popping up in the villages each week. People come from the whole district with everything from rashes and fever to acute blood clots and serious injuries from motorcycle accidents. And if we just go back to the previous slide there, you can see on the left-hand side of the screen the mission, vision, values and motto of the hospital. So it's dedicated to providing affordable and quality care to the community with godly commitment and a love of Christ. And their motto there at the bottom is patient first. So sometimes the patients can pay and sometimes they can't. As a mission hospital, the Sekonge makes sure that no seriously ill patient is left without help due to poverty. So patients are not treated as a source of income, but rather as humans with an inherent value uniquely created by God. The hospital gives exemption from payment to the poor and vulnerable. The exemption programme covers all children under 5 years old, all pregnant women, and also the most vulnerable and poor of the population, no matter the age or condition. The hospital are working on expanding and improving that exemption programme to make sure that they can help all who are in need. However, as expected, the hospital also often struggles seriously to cover those expenses. So I understand that in December to February, more people than ever need free health services as they're out of money and food because last year's harvest is already eaten and the new crops aren't yet ready. The Sekonge Hospital say that making sure that the community of Sekonge has access to proper health care is a practical way of showing God's love and loving their neighbours. They're so grateful for the support from fellow Moravians for financial support, encouragement and prayers. So let's take a look through some photos of the hospital before we hear about one patient's story. So if you just want to click through each of these. And you'll see some photos of children who were born at the hospital. So each day, 5 to 10 children are born at the main hospital each day. Hundreds of babies are weighted and vaccinated each week. So there's a few of those babies. So 5 to 10 each day. And then we're going to take a look at Sezzy's story. So some of you may have read about her in March's Moravian Messenger. Sezzy made use of the exception fund that the Moravian Church helps pay for. So she's 26 and she lives in a small village where people live from their own fields, and sadly hunger is something that most people have experienced. Sezzy was living with her 3 children, her mother and her little sister, and was pregnant. The Sekonge Mission Hospital and the Moravian Church in Western Tanzania held a combined health seminar and church service, and a doctor taught those women in attendance about the importance of giving birth at a health clinic, or even better, a hospital, where this service is free under that exemption programme that we talked about. Her bishop's wife also emphasised the importance of not just praying, but also seeking medical treatment. So Sezzy decided to give birth at the hospital and put aside a little bit of money each week. When the date for her birth was approaching, she left her 3 other children with a neighbour and got on a minibus that drives to the Sekonge most days of the week. When the time came for Sezzy to give birth, she laboured for a long time and ultimately needed an ultrasound. They advised Sezzy that she needed a C-section. Sezzy's mum, so the grandmum, she was very nervous. She said, not only now do we have the cost of an ultrasound, but also now an operation. But the doctor calmed her down and said, look, the cost is going to be paid for by Christians in Europe. So Sezzy got a free C-section at the Sekonge Mission Hospital, and little Saulo, who you can see there in his grandmother's arms, was born safely, weighing 12 pounds. And this was possible due to the exemption programme that is supported by us. So what a wonderful example this Mothering Sunday of how the support the YPMA gives to the Sekonge Hospital can be used. So next up, we're going to look at Elim Home. So Elim Home was founded in 1963 and it's in the Western Cape in South Africa and provides a home for children with severe disabilities. 50 children and young adults aged between 4 and 18 currently live at the home, and their parents are unable to look after them adequately at home or provide them with medical care. And the children are looked after around the clock by the Elim Home. They receive care, physiotherapy and occupational therapy. And games and special activities encourage them to take on as much independence as they can, cope with depending on their abilities. So the map here shows the map of Western Cape in South Africa, and if we click to the next slide, you can see where the Elim Home is located there on the Western Cape. So just off to the left there is Cape Town on the map. So Elim Home is one of the few support centres in the Western Cape, and as a result, there is a really long waiting list for a place at the home. Next, here's a photo of Elim Moravian Church. So as we can imagine, the home is very labour intensive, and financing it remains a constant concern. The South African Department of Health bears around 40% of the cost of the Elim Home. The larger portion of the maintenance, running and labour costs are financed from the home's own activities and also donations. And an agricultural project was started by the Elim Home that has provided an enormous help. There's an olive plantation of almost 100 trees and new greenhouses produce tomatoes all year round. So I understand that the sale of oil and canned tomatoes is now a contributory factor to the Elim Home's income. If we click to the next slide, this year £500 has been sent to the Elim Home from our YPMA funds. So please do continue to keep Elim Home, its young people and workers such as those on screen in your prayers. Next up then is Star Mountain Rehabilitation Centre. It was established in 1959 by the Moravian Church. and the staff work with children who have learning and behavioural difficulties, including autism. The school aims to develop the children so that they can improve their lives and develop their cognitive skills. The children have different levels of ability, so have individual differentiated programmes, and those programmes include physiotherapy, speech therapy, art, traditional dance, sports, and the children are provided on guidance in things like how to eat or walk on the pavement, and some become able to attend mainstream schools part-time and get some vocational training. And Star Mountain also works with other organisations in the West Bank and the refugee camps. So if we click to the next slide, you can see there where Star Mountain is located. So it's on a hilltop surrounded by forest trees in the village of Abu Kash, close to the city of Ramallah. And it's 25 kilometres to the north of Jerusalem. And the situation in this area obviously remains very tense. Star Mountain is open. It reopened after several days of closure in October, when it became clear that it was possible for the children and young people and certain teachers to come to the facility. Some don't come because of the situation in the streets is too unsafe for them. It is really important to have a routine and normality during this tense time for children and young people with disabilities. And every day brings its new challenges, and now more than ever, the Star Mountain really do need our prayers and our donations. And the next couple of slides show some pictures from the young people and the staff. Hopefully that's given you an idea of some of the projects that your money has supported in the last year. And just thank you everyone for your support in 2023 and your continued support in 2024.
Thank you so much, Hannah. And I just love seeing pictures because it brings things to life. So we're going to stand to sing again. We're going to sing This Little Light of Mine.
This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine.
should be in Gracehill School. 400 children in the hall. I'm going to shout. They absolutely love that one at the school. So, before I ask Hannah to come and give out the certificates, I have got a notice from Julie, who, as you know, runs the Mite scheme. And she says that £345 were collected from the church and from the people around here last year. £345 collected in 5p pieces. That is a fantastic number. So if you have any little jars or tubs at home that you can put 5p pieces in, please do so. Now, she's calculated that means 4,312 rehydration sachets. And it takes about 3 sachets, I think, to save a life. So it's a really significant, it's a small thing in the great scheme of things. But to those people it affects, it makes a huge difference. So please go on collecting 5p pieces. We'll hand them in to Julie and she can send them off to the Mite scheme. And she says that almost 9 million sachets have been bought and distributed since the scheme started. So that's incredible. 9 million rehydration sachets. So that's potentially 3 million children given those sachets. So wonderful work. It's only a 5p, but it makes a difference. Hannah. Do you want to?
Yeah, so we will maybe just hold applause for those who's getting certificates here in church.
Yep.
Okay. So I don't think the Flynns are here today.
But their granny is.
So Ryan, Lottie, John and Paul all received a gold award. And that is a new badge then for Ryan as well. And the McCormicks I don't think are here today. So there's Archie, Bobby, Hunter, Amelia, Tommy and Matilda and Harris, who received purple awards. I don't know if there's anybody here for that.
No,
today.
so we can.
Pass these on.
Whoops.
And Georgie Courtney received a purple badge. And Henny Surgeoner, I don't think she's here, or her grandparents.
No, I can't see Ronnie and Lorna.
No, so Henny received a blue award, and I think she was a new collector, so there's a badge for her. Erin Montgomery is here. You received a blue award. Ella Carmichael received a blue award. I'll pass that over to her now. Zach Douglas, who's here, he received a green award. Well done, Zach. Willow Corsby received a red award. And Harrison Horsby also received a red award. Joshua Armstrong also received a red award, and his little sister Leah is a new collector this year, so we've got a badge for her as well.
Hannah, thank you so much. Now, we know and we remember with gratitude the love and the care with which Desmond and Lily used to give to the YPMA award. And of course, that's why our numbers are down this year, because they gave very, very generously. So our new system is that if you come, you can either give to me and I'll pass it on to Hannah, or you can give in Sunday school. And the collection in Sunday school now goes to the YPMA award. So everybody who gets to Sunday school gets an award because the money's gone in. So we hope that, you know, as more people come to Sunday school, to children's church, then our numbers will grow and the amount will grow. So thank you to everybody. We're going to stand to sing our last hymn, and it's a hymn for Mothering Sunday. And it's called Almighty God Through Jesus Christ our Saviour. And you'll know the tune right away.
You showed your love for all humanity.
Son who was impressed by the widow's mite, make your slightest decision advance the kingdom. And may the Spirit who comes as a gentle dove bless and multiply the joy you pass on because of God's love growing in you. And the blessing of God Almighty, Father, Son, and